The Tortious and the Hare experience is getting ready to start up in 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, this is Hugo from the rock band Tantric. How you doing today? And you're about to enter into the experience.
And welcome into the Tortoise and Hare experience. Another show, another day with an old friend, Hugo from the band Tantric. Welcome back.
I'm old.
Well, you're only as old as you want to be, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that everybody knows that I have never ever grown up. I don't adult very well, but I am pretty good at other things, you know.
It's very Peter Pan of you.
Yes. If I could only convince my body to do the same thing.
You know, I always tell people that we are like 3 ages. You know, there's our physical age, our mental age, and then there is our hormonal age.
So all about 18. But you know what? I'll tell you one thing. As much as that rings true, because I am a jokester, even though my songs aren't really as comical as I am as a person, and I always like to, poke fingers at everybody, and everybody who knows me knows that. But I do feel like my soul is a lot older than like the personality that was put into it, because when nobody's around, I turn into this super deep thinker and self-proclaimed philosopher, if you will.
Very deep.
And cold.
So, as always, I'm sure you're very aware of how we did this when how long ago was it? I know we were doing it at Max's house.
I can tell you that it was 2019. Right, Max? It was right before the Make America Rock tour, or Make America.
That was 2016.
Right. 16?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What year were you in again? You guys on the same timeline? Because I heard that time bends, and it might bend a little differently for you.
I believe that.
Yes. And the reason why I know that is because I did...
One of the greatest memories in your life?
That was, there were some memories. There was some memories.
Diary with a marker and crayon. That was all cute.
That's why I write with fuzzy pens. But I did the tour, and then immediately I did the film Astro, and was away for a couple of months in Roswell, New Mexico. So that's how I keep that little file of how I do things.
Yes. Roswell.
Yes.
Roswell and well.
Funny that you mentioned
That's my
Roswell.
Antenna. That's my Roswell
has
antenna.
Been coming up a lot lately in my life, but not in the when you talk about something like kind of random with someone, and then like the next 4 other unrelated people that you meet are also like, what? Mustard seeds? And then that's kind of like how Roswell has been lately. Are you trying to tell me something?
Right.
I'll be home soon.
But go ahead, Turtle, on our intro.
Right. Usually what we do first is we share our experiences, and Max usually goes first. So go ahead, Max.
I usually do. Why? Because I'm the boss.
Yes.
So talking about experiences, we just had Halloween, which is, the spooky month, which is my big time, being a scream queen or whatever you want to call that. It's a busy time for me. So I had a couple of big events. I did a charity event for St. Jude and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which you can find a donation link on our page if you are so inclined to help the children.
Legitimate
Yes, absolutely. So I did that. We raised $30,000. I'm super proud of that fact.
Amazing.
And yeah, it was awesome.
That-
I was dressed as there was a theme. It was a cowboy theme, and I was a zombie, saloon girl. And my friend Robbie Neville, the singer Robbie Neville, went with me, and he was dressed as a zombie gunslinger. But
nice.
everybody thought that we were a bride and groom. And
Right.
I was like, no, we are not.
A gun, you know.
A gunslinger.
Yeah, but like, why would he need to defend himself if he's already the Walking Dead? You would think that.
Right. Well, yeah, he was the gunslinger, and then
Yes. Okay, got it.
and but the great Jake Rowenhouse from Westworld and Jurassic Park and Star Wars, he did our makeup that day, and that was I went in at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and from 2 to 7 was in the makeup chair with him, and it was
So pretty much no different than when you were on tour with us.
right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so it was great fun. There was a lot of awesome people there, and then right after that, the next day, I had to do an autograph show, which is always a weird thing for me. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but
Autographs.
yeah, it's
It's so bizarre of a custom.
It's so crazy. It's like, first off, I'm always shocked that even people know who I am, let alone stand in a line and give me money.
I would
to
argue
sign
that
something.
a lot of people that ask me or other people for autographs, they are kind of like, when like there's a group of people surrounding an event, right? And then they're like, well, all these people must be there for a reason. And then they start just speculating. And that to me happens a lot. And sometimes I'll be in the mood to just kind of like challenge that. I'll be like, oh, you're a fan. What are you a fan of? But it is to me a weird a tradition, I guess, because how the hell it's my autograph? Now I don't know if you remember this, Max, but I give the old fingerprint too. I do the autograph with a fingerprint so that
Smart.
if anybody wants to steal my bad credit, they can assume my identity right there as at least
Right.
1/10. But no, they are a silly custom, but humans have so many silly customs, don't we?
It's weird. But the thing that kind of got me a little bit, I mean, I'm very happy that anybody knows who I am or appreciates what I do. But when I came out of the event the night before, that was at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, there were a lot of celebrities there, but there were autograph hounds that stood outside all night long with stacks of pictures of me to sign. And I was walking out, and my brother happened to be there, and he's never witnessed me having to sign autographs. And they came running up and had these stacks of photos that I'm like sitting there signing. And he's like looking at me like, what is happening right now? And who are these people?
Well, I think that in that culture also, it's like, to me, nobody wants to meet like Luke Skywalker, like the true like Star Wars fans. They don't care about they care about those characters that are known amongst the clan, and that's how you know you're a true one. And I think that's probably how that you're perceived in your art that you do. It's just like, out of that, there's like these like bland, maybe greater scale cookie cutter things, and then there's like this like real mission, and that's what it is, And God bless. That.
Yes, but here's my point.
Plus, you're talented.
Thank you. But my point is that I was doing this show the next day where I was selling my photos and sitting at a proper booth and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys got away with like $500 worth of photos they printed and I signed, and I felt like smudging the print, but I didn't do that. And I didn't do my thumbprint, and, you know, I should have done that because then they wouldn't be able to sell it.
Right. Do you feel, Max, that like when people ask you for an autograph, that's fine, even 2, maybe even 3, but when they're just basically they're like, hey, this one, and this one, this one, at what point do you say, dude, what the fuck? I mean, seriously.
Yeah. It's just weird because
it's kind of an opportunistic way, and it's taking advantage, honestly. You know, it's like, you know, we've done all of the work that we've done to achieve whatever it is that we achieved, and then this guy is just like taking snapshots of us, and I don't even get a Christmas card.
Right, exactly. But so in my experience, to wrap up my part of the experience, so as I was thinking back over the past week's events, I was at the doctor today, and I was sitting there thinking about, man, you know, if I die, those photos that I just signed are going to be worth maybe 14 cents more.
Right.
So that was my thought process.
That was your thought process?
My experience today.
Maybe there's a way that we can monetize the afterlife.
Right. I'm like,
I want more sage. Always going. Yeah, I never think about that, honestly. I'm like, I never think about that at all. Like, I never think about...
Well, because you're never going to die. Because Peter Pan never dies. Never goes away.
I believe that we are, and I say this all this time, spiritual beings having a human experience versus the other way around. So
that's true.
That is true. I don't think that there's such a thing as, at least as in the grander scale of things. But yeah, but
you are Peter Pan, and Turtle, you know, you are Peter Pan like humans. I, on the other hand, am Tinkerbell, and you must clap for me. Clap for me to be alive.
I clap for you all the time. You guys are both really cool. Obviously, Max, I know you a longer time, and it is. I agree with you. I concur.
And Turtle, your experience today?
It was a really interesting experience. I gave a friend a ride home, but before that, we stopped off at her place, and I met her roommates. Right, they were playing video games, which everyone does. But then I saw the room across across the hall, and there was some guitars there, an amp there. And I was like, oh, do you guys play? And they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, let's go. Let's see what you got.
Let's jam out.
Yeah, right. And they're a little like hesitant, you know. And I don't know if that ever happens to you or not. But of course, it probably happens to you much more because you know musicians and everything like that, right?
I'm never actually home to do any of that, but I'm certainly. Unless of course, like you're in the middle, like you're in the middle of doing some stuff that has nothing to do with that, and people are just like, "Hey," I was like, "Do you mind if I stop this?" I was like, "Hey, what do you do for a living? You're a dentist? Oh, do you mind if you pull my tooth right now?" But it's like, yeah, I think that that's part of some people have a little espresso and a little dub, and some people share the gift of music. But it's weird because sometimes in those smaller venues and smaller like person to person, it's like a little more like, it's like I'm a stripper and all of the lights are on, type of experience. So it's kind of weird, especially, people tell us that we're good and we're doing great and all that, but like inside we're still like, are we? Like, and I think that's what makes people that are artistic, better and better throughout their time. It's just like they have to have that modicum of insecurity,
Yeah, and and there was some insecurity because the guy was like, "Oh, well, I really don't play that loud because
Right.
my neighbors." And then I go, "You know what, dude? And I have that same thing, but I go, but that's why they installed the headphone jack into your amplifier."
Right.
And
But truth be told, once you install a headphone jack and you put the headphones on, all the magic goes away. You
do
got
you
to really
think?
kind of turn it up, If you don't get a couple of like broomsticks on the side of the door from the neighbor, then you're not doing it right. Max will tell you.
I don't know. I think our philosophies differ because, I was telling him, like, well, first you got to put the headphones on and really hear what you're playing before you can, kind of crank up the volume. That's just my philosophy.
Right.
Do you find that?
I think that there's some instances where that's true, especially when people ask you to, like, when people ask you a question, but they don't actually care about your answer. They're just asking it. It's like, yeah, I want to hear you play. Anyway, so John, and you play it for him. So yeah, in that instance, I think that is cool. I mean, I think that if you ask somebody to play something for you, you should at least give them the respect of doing it with some sort of attention span directed towards that way. But other than that, sometimes breaking that ice so that people can like allow themselves to be vulnerable and deeper, you kind of have to like joke it around. You can, because I've always noticed that if I go right to the subject of a song or anything, it's really super, like, the song is about like the meaning of life. Why are we here? And that's your first go-to sentence. It kind of puts everybody like in this spot where like we all know that we agree with this guy, but like this is just like, it's just a little bit of tact. Sometimes you just gotta, just put a sandwich on, the compliment sandwich, just like joke around a little bit, a little seriousness, top to the little joke around, and a dash of what the fuck.
So, Turtle, did you show him how it was done?
Well, here's the other thing, and very curious to hear both of your guys' idea of this. So the guy's like, well, the guitar isn't really that good. And but I told him, I was like, you know what? I was like,
strike one, bro. Strike one.
No, but I told him, I'm like, the guitar doesn't make you good. You make the guitar good. Right. And that's my personal philosophy.
That you say the guitar isn't that good that's just horrible. I'm like, the game's over right now. Forfeit.
That's like when you go for an audition and you say, I have a sore throat, or
like my cat is really sick.
It was an emotional day. My mom, I stubbed my toe.
You know where I see that a lot is
there's a war.
The American Idol tryouts. And I love them, and like they're to me the best part of those things is like, because sometimes you like see someone who just nails it, and nobody like gives them that pre-expectation that they're going to do it, and then somebody just sees a guy who's just like does not know when to stop. He's like, just give me one more second. Hold on. This is why it's just like the Tanya Harding of the shoelace type of thing. Hold on. But it's both of them are really entertaining. But they should just eliminate everything else. Just the tryouts.
Yeah. So like we went through this whole explanation, and then my buddy, she was like, "All right," she's like, "I'm ready to go." And then I'm just like, "We're about to." No.
But we're playing.
Yeah.
Mom,
it's like the same word. It's like, oh my God, we need some bubble gum. All right, that's the word.
Yeah.
If there was only any great bubble gum in the building.
Yeah. So that was I just found that to be such an interesting experience. But the guy really thanked me for everything. He's like, "Thank you. I never thought about stuff like that."
Did he ever play anything? Or was that
well, we were about to, and then it was time to go. We were kind of on a bit of a time crunch.
So basically, bought that at a flea market as a ploy with a puppy to pick up the ladies.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
work. The puppy does.
But again, he thanked me at the very end, and is very like, oh man, and we just talked really for like a brief second on just some technical aspects and stuff, and some things that I'm like, oh, you could probably do this or do that. So nothing too.
But my supermodel girlfriend who lives in Bolivia is like, you'll never see her, but she's there. Trust me.
I'm cool with that.
She's taking a lot of room for my, when I'm like basically the bodyguard for like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I don't want to say anything, but I have a few supermodel girlfriends all over the world, so I totally understand
all over the
that.
show.
When my career was first starting, and you're in that adapting stage where you're like this guy who plays music and this guy who kind of is known by everybody and actually is making a little bit of money, and this is a transitional period, kind of like puberty, but like a lot more abrupt. But there'd be, I would throw these parties at my house, and they had some signature things about them. I'd have like some plaques and photographs of myself and the band and things that we have done. And there'd be people that come into this house, and there'd be like 50 or 60 people in the house, and they would literally be talking about me to me, and they'd be like, yeah, I know Hugo. He's kind of a dick, if you think about it. I was like, and I would just literally egg them on, and all these people would have to do is just like look around, and trust me, there's some pretty vain pictures. Like, I'm like, see that, and that one, that's me, and okay. And they would just be like, just talking shit and never have met you. I mean, if I'm, Max, you remember this, like, how many people used to say they were my manager?
Yeah.
To whatever.
Like, really?
You're like,
wow,
those operations are working really efficiently these days. But it's, you take that with a grain of salt,
Yeah.
Focus on things.
So those have been our experiences that we've been going through. What's something that you've been going through, Hugo?
We talking in the same genre because I could start from beginning to end. I mean,
anything.
Here's the thing, man. I've been doing this for over 20 years. It's going to be 25 years, and I'm making this record. And I'm thinking about the movie Amadeus and like his piece de la résistance. And to me, it's like this. I guess it's never been as important as it is to me now for me to create this thing that kind of encompasses all these things. And I just wonder why this type of like thought process doesn't happen in your youth. And you get almost the most shine as you get under the spotlight when you really don't know what you're doing. And to me, I'd just be so bummed if it was like people found out it was brilliant like 100 years after I was gone, because then I wouldn't benefit from the perks. I couldn't get the discount at the mechanic store. But like, the question is that, and life is such a crazy thing, and you guys know this, and we all ponder this, but it's like, why is wisdom in reverse with everything? It just seems like we get this, and we should have had this a lot before. And, why do we feel the necessity to like leave this thing? It's not even a stamp or a monolith of any sort, but to me, it's for myself, but it's so important to me. And I was just wondering if you guys feel that way. And, because I feel like everybody, if I want to write, every time I make a record, it's the song that I feel like is the most like sitting on the top layer of the water, that everybody's like, that song where you said, fuck that. That's my favorite one. And I was like, really? Okay. But is that a reflection on me or a reflection on America or society or the world? And which one should I ride on? What side should you ride on? Should you ride on the side of like, I don't give a fuck what you think, and I've got this thing going on? Or would you be like, you know what? I'm just going to put on that Planet Fitness cutoff shirt and do donuts for my Trans Am.
Well,
no. We're going to go with no on the last statement.
Well, I don't know about that, and I'm going to tell you why. There are, to me, there's a lyric that comes to mind by this band called The Verve. They did a song called Bittersweet Symphony. And there's one particular standout lyric where he says, I'm so many people from one day to the next.
Right.
And I feel that that's us a lot of times, where we could be three people all at once. And part of us does want to go, to the left or to the right or somewhere completely different at the same time when we get asked questions like that. So,
right. I mean, to me, it's just like, I don't know. I'm very competitive also, like in music. Like, I want everybody to do well. I do, like, in general, I am a person who roots for my fellow human, even if it's, I want people to succeed to the best of their ability. But I'm also very competitive in my own head. I don't know. Are you, with your acting and with the stuff that you do, Max, do you feel like when you see other actors and you're like, it's those little things that give you the street cred, and obviously I know you're a musician as well, you're, broad talents, but is there a competition factor in you guys, even in this podcast? I mean, when you see other podcasts, you'd be like, these guys, this bubble gum, played out shit. This is cookie cutter. Nothing is deep like this, and do you think that that's a positive, or I guess I'm interviewing you now.
Well, yes. There is always a certain level of competition in everything as humans.
Right.
There's always, even if you're looking at the animal world, they're competing for the respect of, the pride. And
so pretty much like what we do.
Yes, absolutely.
Same exact thing.
It's survival of the fittest, and whoever is got an edge and is making a bigger statement.
But do you think that that's the reason why you're competitive? Because that's certainly not the reason why I am. It's like, to me,
I think it's a natural instinct to be competitive. I personally, I do it because I'm vibrating on different frequencies at all times. As many people know about me,
that's up to you. Whatever you want.
Well, it's how I believe. That I'm in 13 different dimensions all at once. So my self game is competing against myself all the time. So I'm always trying to better my game by being a better human, or alien, whatever you think I am.
I guess I'm a little bit like that, but the thing that I guess that I like is that, like, when you can create something and it provokes emotion where generally there wouldn't be any, just a play on words or whatever it is that triggers an individual, like, just like the Lips of the Angel commercial, it's like these certain things that I can watch on television for some reason, or just like these moments that I just see that'll just like get to me. But when you can kind of pull that out of someone, whether it be positive or that, to me, I was like, job well done. And I've written that. I was like, my goal is to provoke emotion and thought, and getting really okay with it, let yourself sink down a little bit, know where your bottom is in as far as emotionally.
I think that's probably everybody's, at least the three of us, our main goal is to provoke some sort of reaction and thought. Like our show, we started this show because we wanted to talk about experiences in life and not, and the human experience, not just music or film or entertainment, but, getting deep. in a different kind of conversation than most podcasts would have.
You know, there's just like those parties that you sometimes are at, and you get sucked into that corner of when you're having these conversations with people, and they don't have to be drug induced. You know, you just find yourself. You know, I feel like people draw the right people. You know, wherever you are, you're supposed to be. You just got to figure out why you're there. But you know, that's what I like about podcasts. You know, when the concept first came out, I found them very, very like. So basically, it's just this dude talking to another. But like when there is a moment where like everybody is just like throws all their own whatevers to the wind and people discuss, like those questions bring up more questions than answers. And I think that's the only way really to evolve as humans, both, you know, spiritually and in every way, you know. Talking is good, talking it out, you know. But, you know, just seeing what other people think. I used to think that a lot of my thoughts were indigenous to me growing up. You know, like, I'm the only one who thinks this way. This can't be the general state of mind of everyone. But the more I traveled the world and met all different types of people, both monetarily and professionally, man, in the moment of, like, true honesty, we're more alike than we are different. And
it's true.
It's just like, you know, sometimes the thoughts and the voices that are speaking in your head are really the ones that are the true ones, you know. And I think that given that opportunity, the people that I've met, when broken down, when nobody's looking, you know, and I think that's a good thing, you know, because I inherently believe that humans are inherently good. I don't think that we're born like with malice, you know. I think it's taught and I think it's cultivated. But you know, positive thinker.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I you know, to counterpoint that, I will say this: good and bad is all perspective. And one of the people that I always bring up is, you know, Tyler Durden. You know, from
I don't know names. I know.
Right. Well, you
from Fight Club.
From Fight Club, and his whole thing was, you know, he wanted to end credit, and he wanted to blow up like all the,
right.
You know, the credit buildings and destroy all the data. And to some people, they're going to be like, man, that's brilliant. And to some people are going to be like, well, that's kind of bad. So it's all perspective.
Everything is subjective. But I think that the good of the good of the many should outweigh the good of the few. You know what I'm saying? In general, that's how a species survives and thrives. And I think that when there's the right wings and the left wings of any subject matter, which there are, and you're right, truth is perspective, is about how you see it and how you believe it. If you see it, you believe it, and it's real to you, then it's truth to you. No matter how much you debate it, as you can see from the wide spectrum of religion to science and whatever. But the fact of the matter is that the general populace is you know, gotta be the I guess the barometer on that, right? You know, except these few exceptions like Galileo, you know, these people who are like, or even like just early scientists that have these thoughts that were ahead of their time and they ultimately got stoned to death, you know, somewhere or hung or whatever. And obviously that's the price for like big swings, you know, because you have to have a lot of courage to like step up. But also without those swings comes nothing, you know. There's normality and it would trickle. But so, you know, I agree with you, but I think that the common and logic would dictate that the good of, not to quote Star Trek, but to quote Star Trek, and to show my true geekiness, but the good of the many outweigh the good of the few.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I'm dealing with on today, my 111th day of the Screen Actors Guild strike, I've been dealing with the AI issue, and it's not only stealing our identity, but stealing our thought process. As writers, as I write television and film, and you write songs,
right?
And I'm sure you could write scripts as well, because you've written some fantastic poetry in your day as well.
I didn't know anything about it.
But I was wondering how you feel about the evolution of AI and the fact that we as a species are losing our importance
I have a lot
and our
of
place on this earth.
Contemplate this, and that's I do necessarily. I understand where you come from, but we will never lose our place. We will just there'll be another thing. But here's the thing: Elon Musk was asked in this interview that I saw about what he believed if he thought that we were all living in a sim, right? And when I was first asked that, I was like, whatever. What the fuck? That's ridiculous. We're of course we're not living in a sim, or maybe we are, but definitely I didn't think that I was the sim, right? I didn't think I was the non-player character, but it gets to this point where this technology is going to have so many synapses as we are, that they're going to become sentient, right? Mm-hmm. So right now, AI is not sentient. AI is basically doing what art does and patterns do, and that's what music is in sense. We have a bunch of patterns that are like in our head, and we combine them with colors and words and stuff like that. And that's what they're doing. They're doing mathematics. Ours is provoked by personal life experience, and theirs is provoked by binary code. And it's a completely different thing. However, I think there's some pretty interesting stuff that's coming out there, right, with AI, but it's still not a human factor. It's always going to be like, it's like you can have some guy paint, a replica of the Mona Lisa, right, or whatever it is. You can have anybody create, but the original creation can never, ever be denied. It is the mother and father of this great thing. So in AI, once that becomes bigger and bigger and then implodes upon itself, they will too have that moment. AI will have that moment. But I think that is this. Just ponder this. So what Elon Musk basically said was like, listen, there's a lot of things that would point to the fact that we are living in a sim, and I'm going to paraphrase him right now, but something along the lines of like, time travel, and we're not witnessing it, and therefore it shows that there must have been something, tragic that happened in human history. And then he said, furthermore, and if that's true, the percentage or the chances of us being the original carbon of ourselves is like 1 in a million. So we could already be in that future as we speak and actually be the AI. What is AI that's different from any other AI? It's like flesh, blood, nanotechnology. It again is, subjective to what you consider life to be. But what do you consider life to be? But right now, I don't think it's that. I think it's just imitation of patterns, just like when you give a pig like a canvas and he just dumps it in color and calls it a painting. That pig does not have a preconception of what he's going to create. It's just, it's like, look at a pig. You put in colors. But it's different. But I don't think that they'll ever steal my humanity because I still, I'm going to live a long time, but, they still got a little ways to go.
But if you think about the technology that they have now, for instance, today there's a mammogram that is completely AI. So what that's doing is it's taking images of a woman and completely duplicating that human breast tissue. Right. And that is now going to be on a robot.
Right.
And
That's amazing.
it is amazing, but
When do we draw the line?
Where do we draw the line? And you know,
that's a human question right there, because I don't think that the line, just like right and wrong, is always going to be pushed depending on whoever's seeing it. Because you could argue the fact that because of these things, us humans are living longer, right? Mm-hmm. And eventually, if we can dump our consciousness into them, then we, in fact, become symbiotic, which I believe we already are, because our souls and bodies are two separate things. And we are symbiotic as it is, in my opinion. But, you know, I think it's just repeating itself. It splits in the, you know.
I don't know if the two of you have been on TikTok lately, but now they have these girls who, they're not doing that. They're not doing that anymore. What they're doing is they're pretending to be AI robots. So they're like, hello.
But
thanks for the roses. I like roses. This smells lovely. Thanks for the roses. But these are actual girls pretending to be AI.
But you know, what's the difference between that and any other role play? This is the thing. When you have freedom of choice, and listen, you can't have ultimate freedom without having ultimate, like, side shows. But listen, some people like to dress up like a cop. Some people like... And whatever, man, that's human. Let it go. My philosophy is this, man. How you become happy in life is doing whatever the hell you want to do, whenever you want to do it, as long as it's not hurting anyone or yourself, or it's not at anyone's expense. Right? Do I find it strange? Not really, because robots are kind of hot, you know. But
but the words, you know, at anybody else's expense. This is at our expense. AI is at the expense of every actor, every musician, every writer.
I would disagree. I would say that's like saying that rock music is the devil. You know, it's another thing. It's just another crayon in the box. And there's
no.
To me, it is. And you know what? If it eventually mutes and eliminates us, then so be it. Because, you know, nature will always prevail, and whatever happens, happens. To me, I try not to live that far ahead. You know, I like to contemplate it and go, yeah, wow, that's deep. But, you know, I feel like these days I try to focus more on, like, right now, which is the only thing that's real to me, you know.
Well, for us in this strike right now, we're dealing with our images being stolen. That's what we're at the table about. The studios are not paying us what we should be paid, and our images are being replicated and used in other
every technology, like in every industry, right? Doesn't that happen? They streamline, right? First of all, you used to have a guy who would pick up for the pizza. Now you never have a mail operator. You never have any of that. And unfortunately, that is where your morals have to come in. It's not necessarily, it's like a moral question. It's a moral and a bigger question than like stealing, because you know what? Nobody can ever steal that from me, because I give it to you freely. Like, I will give you this. This is a gift, which by some stream of luck, I monetize. Great. But I've never, ever gave this gift or wanted to show somebody, like, here's my song, get $5.99. That's never, and even now, it's never been that. Now, obviously, it's my job and it is your job, but I guess that was never my particular driving thing. To me, it's just like, if you eliminate somebody's power of taking something by giving it to them in a way, then they can't hurt you. And that's what that's basically what I mean, to me, it's like this. There's nothing that I can do to control that. You know, I can voice my opinion about things that are bothering me. And again, my opinion is just mine, and yours is yours. It doesn't have to coincide, or I'm not saying that yours is wrong. It just happens to be the footsteps I take. But to me, I'm pretty confident in the fact that what I create or what I do in my position in this planet and earth and existence and time is unique into its own as yours is to yours. There's not going to be another Max out there ever except for you. And no amount of AI or anything is going to be you. It's impossible. It can only be a duplicate. It can only be a replica, but it can never be the you because there's only one, right?
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think, Turtle?
I think we should play a song.
Turtle, come down the rabbit hole. Hey, do you guys want some of these mushrooms? No, man. I spent a lot of time contemplating. That's what happens when you're on a bus 12 hours a day. A lot of time.
Where can people find you at?
Thanks for having me. Obviously, I'm dear friends with Max, and you to a equal but lesser degree, because we never bonded in that same type of way that you do when you're with someone every day in the setting of a tour. But I'm glad that you guys do this. I think it's a really cool thing that you do it for yourselves and for us, and it shows to be genuine. And that's why whenever you guys don't have someone, I'll always be the pinch hitter.
Well,
Very cool. Yeah. And where can people find you at? Is there a social media thing or a website thing?
Okay, so you've got the standard at Tantric Hugo. That's my Instagram, and there's Tantric Official and stuff. Just look it up and you'll see it. But normally you'll find me at a concert venue near you. We tour all of the time, partially by choice, partially by necessity, but we still love what we do, and I'll be here. Okay, guys. Well, I'll see you guys in about another 7 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I appear like the cycle of the moon of lunar. All right, I got to go back to packing and try not to miss my fourth flight of the day.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. We truly do appreciate it, guys. For more information on Hugo, log on to entertheshell.com and hit the show notes, and there I'll have some of the socials and whatnot. And I think I still have some banners up for Max, so you can go ahead and help her with her charities and whatnot. And don't forget to hit those subscribe buttons on all those streaming platforms that we are available on. For Tortious and the Hare and Hugo, we are out of here. Later.
Bye.
It all comes down to us when giving it a try. Capturing the sun when now is void of light. Everybody knows